So this video is going to be a little bit different than the stuff that I normally post on YouTube. It's sort of going to be like a loose-ish review, but also a Q&A from some of my friends on Instagram. Basically that. But anyway, I guess for the review part, I really like to see how other artists use the paint that they're reviewing, or the art supply, or whatever it is. Like how it mixes together, what a final painting with this stuff looks like, that kind of thing. So that's what this is going to be. And again, a lot of me talking. But anyway, the Miya company gifted me their Hiii gouache set a couple of months ago. And this is literally the first time I have played with it. So that's fun. But anyways, I guess I need to say that all these opinions are my own. I wasn't paid for this review, and they just gave me the paint and asked me to review it. So here we are. Anyway, I guess I should start off with saying that I actually purchased Miya's 18 color gouache set back in like June, I think. And I had really mixed feelings about the set and jelly gouache in general. But I think a lot of that was more because of my inexperience with gouache and not necessarily the paints themselves. I'd only when did I start painting with gouache? I think I started painting with gouache basically, this was my first real gouache set, real in quotes. Before that, I was using the Holbein acrylic gouache, and now I know that those are totally not the same thing at all. The acrylic gouache is basically just like a matte acrylic paint, and regular gouache, this gouache or Winsor & Newton or whatever is that people use, this gouache it's like opaque watercolor. And I think had I known that, I might have gone into it a little bit differently. I also think that in order to paint with gouache, you really, especially the type of paintings that I do and this type of illustrations that I do, I feel like you have to have a really good background or somewhat good background on color mixing and color theory, which is not my strong point at all. And I've definitely gotten a lot better at it. But when I first started painting with the jelly gouache, I was just not good at all. Like a bad time, like a super bad time. But anyways, so this set is actually, I like this set already. I'm looking at myself painting right now, but I already like this set a lot better than the 18 color set. I feel like the colors that they provided with this set were a lot more varied and easier for mixing, if that makes sense. And I also really like the fact that they included a white palette, because if any of you guys have painted or used the other gouache sets, they have a palette that's the same vibrant color as the actual box of paint. And I think that makes it not necessarily hard, but kind of hard to actually mix the paint and kind of have a better idea of the colors that you're using. Because I'm sure if you see a color on a white background, or I know if you see a color on a white background and then you see it again on a green background, the color can look totally different. So I thought that was really cool. And then also they included these little paintbrushes with it as well. Now I tried to use the paintbrushes that they provided for the entire painting, but I'm not really good at cleaning my brushes and I'm very impatient. And so I kind of quit that super fast. Either way, the brushes were fine. I liked them. They were synthetic, or they are synthetic. I only use the flat brush and the round brush, but that's kind of just mainly what I paint with anyways. I did really like that the round brush had a really fine tip. If you look at the painting right now, you can see those tiny little lines coming down from the circles. I did that with that yellow brush, the round, and I like that. Because I always have a really hard time finding really good detail brushes that will do really thin lines in a way that doesn't make me angry. But anyways, I honestly feel like this is a really good set for someone that is just trying to figure out if they want to get into gouache painting or not. And I also think it's really good for testing, because I have a tendency to use a lot of paint and waste a lot of paint, and it gets kind of expensive, and that's bad. So this set I think is like, how much is it? It's like $27, I think, on Amazon. And the other one, the 18 color one, is like $23 or $24. So I would definitely get this just for even the palette, honestly, because I actually really like this little palette. I used this palette before I even used the paints. So that's a fun story. But I think that if you decide that you really like painting with gouache, my personal favorite is the Winsor & Newton designer gouache. And I think you can buy, I think it's the introductory set that has like 10 colors, I think, 12 colors. I think it's 10 colors. Anyway, whatever it is. It's like $56, and it is really, really good gouache, in my opinion. I think it works really well for the type of modern kind of blocky paintings that I do, and that's kind of my go-to. I really love their cadmiums. Those are my favorite. They're also expensive, and that's bad, like I said. So that's why we have jelly gouache to do tests on and to learn things. Well, now time for part 2-ish of my lay rambling video for all of your entertainment. I asked my Instagram stories if anyone had any questions that they wanted to ask me, and I would answer them in this video, because I knew that I wouldn't have enough things to talk about for however long this video is. So I'm going to answer a few of them until I run out of time. So the first one is, what made you decide to start painting and drawing? And that's a fun story. It was kind of an accident. I'm 36 years old, and I actually grew up, and I never thought I could paint or draw. I didn't know I could. And I know that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I grew up in the art and antique business. And so I was always surrounded by like the most beautiful things of all time. And I guess, I don't know, I could draw stick figures, but I never really tried other than that. But anyways, a couple years ago, I decided, because of the internet, that I was going to learn calligraphy, and I was traveling a lot at the time, so I gifted myself a box of really pretty handmade watercolors so I could travel and do calligraphy. And I was like really shy about it, but I had like a paintbrush for whatever reason, just like other craft things, and I was like kind of shy. And then I looked on YouTube for a tutorial on how to paint things, and I followed a tutorial, and I was like, oh, I actually can paint. So that's really cool. And it was a total accident. And then I painted a little bit just off and on since, I think that was in 2018. I think it was 2018. And I painted for about a year-ish off and on, like very casually. And then I didn't do it anymore up until, I guess, I started again in April, because I'm a wedding photographer as far as my main source of income, and all weddings were basically canceled. All of my weddings were canceled or moved to next year, and I am not very good with being still, and so I signed up for Skillshare, and I took a class, and this isn't sponsored at all, this is like the full truth. But I took a class on Skillshare, or a couple classes, and then I just started like spending all of my time just painting and drawing. So that's how I started doing all this. Okay, second question is, how did you come up with your unique designs and characters? So if some of you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I do a mixture of things. I kind of paint and draw a lot of mid-century modern inspired things, but then I also draw these like weird little alien bubbies, and I started drawing the aliens. I always start them by accident. Like, I used to draw these weird tiny little monsters in my journals when I was younger, and they were a lot scarier and not as silly as they are now, but over time they've kind of evolved into these like strange little happy-esque alien guys. And the other half of my style, I guess, is, yeah, like I said, very mid-century modern inspired. And I collect 20th century Japanese woodblock prints. And so that's a lot where a lot of my inspiration, I guess, comes from when I do some of the things that I do. Okay, so this one says, what is your all-time favorite paintbrush? So for gouache, I'd say my absolute favorite paintbrush is the silver black velvet size 4 round. I have the size 8 round too, and I don't like it at all. I love the size 4. I think it's perfect for the style of illustration that I do, and it brings me joy. Okay, next. What are your favorite 3 colors to paint with? I'd say it would have to be probably warmer colors, probably like yellow, orange, and red. If like I'd had to choose, those are the best. I don't know, I like painting things that are really warm, and even when I do like blues, even this whole painting is very warm, I think. Anyways, but yeah, I like warm things because they're happy and they're like the sun, and I love the sun. Ooh, we're at the end now. Hooray! So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me and chatting with me, or listening to me chat, or whatever, and painting with me, or whatever you were doing while this was in the background, because this is definitely a background video. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys all in the next one, and bye!